us now on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop, covering Major League Baseball for CBS Sports Radio. Pleasure to welcome in Rich Herrera. Rich, how are you this afternoon, man?
Sacramento, what's going on?
Not much. It's Friday. We're ready to have a good time and head into the weekend and check out some baseball. I have to start this conversation. I think every baseball conversation now starts with Shohei Ohtani. And how do you think this thing plays out with Shohei Ohtani between now and the August 1st trade deadline, Rich?
I'm glad you said this. I was at the All-Star game last week, and I stood next to Ohtani. I can't believe how big he is. The guy is huge. I was really kind of taken aback standing there because I've seen him play and I've watched him. I've seen the Angels a bunch during spring training, and I've gone to Anaheim to see him, and I've caught him a couple times. But just standing there next to him, shoulder to shoulder, and he towered above me, I was really kind of taken aback on everything he's done. So let's put all the facts out for you before we do anything else. So the Angels have him. They're not going to be able to sign him to a long-term deal. The owner of the Angels was going to sell the ball club, but then he decided, I'm going to pull it back off the market, maybe because I can hold on to Ohtani, maybe because we get some more expansion money, and I can hold on to it and make some more money when I sell the team 10 years from now. So that's where the Angels are right now. They're listening to offers, according to John Paul Morosi, and they'd be stupid not to. And you're going to look to see, well, what can I get for Shohei Ohtani? He is Mike Trout, and he is Garrett Cole all rolled into one. So what would Mike Trout go for a team that wants to run a player? An awful lot. Then you add in a guy who could be a number 2 or 3 starter for you and has no-hit stuff every time. You're going to get a ton. I don't know if the Halos are ever going to be able to get fair market value for a top-line pitcher and a top-line hitter that comes in a one body. It's going to be difficult. So if anybody's going to move for him and go pick him up, it's somebody's going to have to overpay and blow the Angels away. The other reason why the Angels might not move him is if they want to get back into their Shohei sweepstakes at the end of the season, what kind of look is that if I traded you away and then I try to re-sign you to come back?
Yeah, talking to Rich Herrera, CBS Sports Radio. Rich, someone else that's caught my eye, man, and seems like he's captivated everybody when it comes to baseball is Elly De La Cruz. I absolutely love Elly De La Cruz. What's your thoughts on Elly and his future in the sport of baseball, my man?
How high is the limit? How high is that ceiling going to be? He does everything, and he does it with a little bit of style, a little bit of flash, and his fundamentals are better than you think when you watch him. So I help out with Brett Boone. Brett Boone has a podcast now. In fact, today we had Alex Rodriguez is going to come out next week. But we were talking about Elly De La Cruz, and he does everything right. He's fundamentally sound, and he is this next generation guys. Jay, he's this next generation of guys that are just coming into their own right now, whether it's the Julio Rodriguez's, the Fernando Tatis, the Elly De La Cruz. We have this whole, I don't want to say millennial generation or Gen Zs, but they're all these young men in their 20s, their early 20s, that are just establishing themselves to backfill what's going to happen when Mike Trout and Aaron Judge get up there in age. And he's one of the most exciting ones that you're going to see. Cincinnati, they love him there, and I think he's only going to get better. We've only seen him scratch the surface.
I don't think when we started this season, anybody would have thought that the standings look the way that they look right now. And one of the teams that surprised folks has been the Giants, who now they recently took one of the 2 wild card spots along with the other team in the West that's surprising everybody, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Do you think those 2 teams can – they both seem to have gotten better as the season has gone on. Do you think they can continue in that direction and be in the playoff picture when everything shakes out?
Okay, well, let me ask you who I'm talking to. Are you guys half full or half empty glass guys?
Well, Jay hates the Giants, so he's going to tell you he's half empty.
Half empty. Matter of fact, I'm 3/4 empty, Rich.
He's 3/4 empty. I'm probably half full. I'd say I'm probably half full.
So I'll use both teams. So if you're the Giants and you're playing way above what anybody would expect you to do, are you doing that because you're better than everybody else, or the reciprocal of that, because every game you win in the West means somebody else is losing? Have the Dodgers not been as good as we thought? Have the Padres just been an absolute embarrassment after all the expectations they had? Has and the Rockies been really, really bad. So if you feasted on those bad teams, or are you as good as you think? I think it's a combination of both. I think the Padres, who everybody expected to be World Series champions, it's going to be the Padres, the Rays, and the World Series. Padres, whatever reason, all that money they spent down at Petco Park, it is not clicked for them. I'm wondering whether they're going to be buyers or sellers coming up next week. The Giants have played over their head, but they've gotten really good. They've gotten really good production from kids that they've brought up. So I think the Giants are for real. The Arizona Diamondbacks are scaring me a little bit. They're teetering, and we'll see whether, 162 games, you can't hide any of your flaws, and eventually, after you get to about 120, 130, we really see whether you have a flaw or not. I think both of those teams better be buyers at the deadline, because they're going to need that little extra boost as the Dodgers are starting to get better.
Yeah, Rich, I really always appreciate your synergy and where you come from. I really want to ask you about Bryce Harper starting at first base, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask about my my dear Oakland A's, man. Look, there's always bad news, but I'm hoping, Rich, you my guy, you bring me some type of something I can put my hands on, grasp. I'm reaching for a star. Just give me something good to think about the Oakland A's situation. Not on the field, but of course to Las Vegas.
Well, they got to figure out what they're going to do. So if you can give me just an extra minute here. So this whole thing goes back to, because remember, I used to do the Oakland A's postgame show back in the late 90s. And I'm still an A's alumni, right? I still wear, I was at the All-Star game. I was walking around with my A's cap. I'm a Giants alumni. I was wearing my Giants cap. But with the Oakland A's, I sat down and I talked to a couple of fans who were there with the Save Oakland cards that were protesting in front of T-Mobile Park. But it goes back to, do you remember, guys, way, way, way back when the Giants were ready to leave? I was at the last Giants game when they were going to move to St. Petersburg, Florida, and play inside Tropicana Field, now the home of the Rays. And the A's were everything. The A's had one of the highest payrolls in baseball, beautiful ballpark, and then all of a sudden we decided, let's bring the Raiders back to Oakland, and they ruined the Oakland Coliseum with Mount Davis, and the Oakland A's have never been able to rebound. One of the problems with the Oakland A's has been they're trying to figure out, do I go to Sacramento? Do I move down to San Jose? Well, they're landlocked, but they're landlocked for their own reasons. When the Giants were going to move to San Jose, they didn't own the territory in San Jose. That was owned by the Oakland A's. Well, the Giants were getting ready to get run out of town on a rail, so the A's go, you know what? We'll let you have the South Bay territory. You can have all of that and move down to the ballpark. They would have forced them down to San Jose, which hadn't developed yet with Silicon Valley as big as it was going to get, and they would have owned all of San Francisco and the Bay Area, and it would have been great for the A's. Well, the Giants didn't get the ballpark. They rebound, they get Oracle Park. But what happened was the A's didn't put a sunset clause on moving around the Bay Area to go to San Jose. So when the A's say, hey, we want to move to San Jose, the Giants go, ho, wait a minute. We own the rights to San Jose. No, we didn't. We did it. We let you use it. Yeah, but you never took them back. So the A's have been pigeonholed. They couldn't move south. They couldn't do anything else. So they've been stuck in purgatory since I worked there in the late 90s. And they've tried and they've tried and they've tried. There's no corporate muscle in San Jose. There was Mother's Cookies, Clorox, and one other company, and you can't compare to everything you can get down in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. So they never got the corporate sponsorship. It was hard to get to the ballpark. And then once Mount Davis came in, it just decayed. The people that I talked to in Las Vegas and the folks I talked to in the front office, they're finally going to get a ballpark that is worthy of this franchise. That, if you think about it, look at all those championships, look at all those Hall of Famers. If you give them a chance to get in Las Vegas, it's going to break my heart for California. It's going to break my heart for Northern California. But I don't know if there's any there in Oakland. I think in Las Vegas you get a chance to get this whole new lifeblood for the green and gold, and it might be good for the franchise as much as it's going to break my heart, because I saw Ricky Henderson's first game of the Coliseum. I saw so many games of the Coliseum. I saw Dallas Braden's perfect game of the Coliseum. When I was a kid, I loved Coliseum dogs, but I just don't see anywhere for them to go.
That's Rich Herrera, CBS Sports Radio, and our guest for the last few minutes here on Sactown Sports Radio. Rich, thanks for the time, man. Appreciate it.
Guys, I love it. Thank you very much. I love Sacramento. I'll talk to you soon.
And he joins us on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline.